After terrorizing the streets of Manhattan, okay, after ending the young lady's life in Georgia, okay, after all of the absolute criminality that has happened within the state of Texas, along with Aurora, Colorado, Chicago, bro, I'm not sure I'm going to feel super bad for the individuals that came to this country in a very illicit manner to then terrorize the streets of our country. Okay. I don't feel bad. I can't. I'm trying to understand why there were multiple judges that tried to block the deportation of individuals that came here to literally terrorize and corrupt, let's say, American citizens. Guys, right? I'm not down for it. I'm sure none of you are either, guys, if you're watching. But either way, let's go and check this video out immediately. See where this takes us. Alleged gang members sent to El Salvador get a harsh reception. I bet. They don't want them there. That's why they let them out. Either way. This is a suggestion via Discord. Let's jump into it.
Hours after President Trump invoked an 18th century wartime law, alleged members of Venezuela's prison gang Tren de Aragua arriving in El Salvador. The Salvadorian president sharing this dramatic video on X
military?
depicting TDA and MS-13 gang members hauled off into a plane, thrown into a bus, and then their heads shaved as they're now being held in an infamous terrorism confinement center. A senior Trump administration official telling News Nation in total, 261 illegal aliens were deported to El Salvador, of which 137 were deported using that Alien Enemies Act. The timing comes as a federal judge actually blocked deportation flights after Trump invoked that law from 1798. But the Trump administration is firing back now, saying it did not violate that ruling because the planes were already in international airspace.
Okay.
News Nation's Jorge Ventura live in San Diego with what we're learning about those deportations at this hour. Jorge?
Well, Alex, a senior Trump administration official confirming to News Nation that the rap sheets of those illegal aliens deported to El Salvador yesterday do include kidnapping, sexual abuse of a child, robbery, and aggravated assault on a police officer. Now, according to El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, the country will be receiving 238 suspected Tren de Aragua gang members and 23 suspected MS-13 gang members who were immediately transferred to the country's mega prison.
Right. Guys, really quickly, I want to just go ahead and applaud El Salvador for all they have done to actually rid their streets of all types of criminality. Okay. Like, if you want to talk about a place that understood the assignment, it's El Salvador. They should be commended. Absolutely. And they should definitely also be looked at as a reference point on how to absolutely rid, your streets of crime and criminality, large scale, at least. Is there still criminality? Obviously. Right. But large scale, bro, they are absolutely good at this, and whatever they have done, we should learn from. In some instances, obviously not everything, because again, we're talking about different places with different, sets of constitutional rights and things like that, right? But bro, they did this, okay? But anyway, I applaud them.
Footage from El Salvador's government shows a high-security transfer with shackled prisoners stumbling forward as heavily armed officers push them along. The wrists, ankles, and waists are tightly bound, forcing them to shovel in short, restricted steps. On the tarmac, riot police stand shoulder to shoulder, gripping their batons as helicopters hover overhead, scanning for any disturbances. The men are loaded one by one onto special units and military buses, their heads forced down as officers keep them under strict control. Sirens blare as a convoy of armored vehicles, escorted by special forces, transport them straight to the notorious Seaside mega prison, the same facility where El Salvador's government has locked up tens of thousands of gang members in recent years.
That's what I'm
Inside
talking
the
about.
Prison walls, the men have their heads shaved in assembly line fashion while guards stand over them, barking orders. Cameras capture the moment they're wearing white prison uniforms before being marched, hands behind their backs, into tightly packed holding cells. Back in Washington, D.C., a federal judge ruled that deporting migrants without due process violated long-standing U.S. asylum protections. The White House pushing back, saying they didn't violate a court order. Quote, the order came too late, and illegals were already in international airspace. The El Salvadoran president posting oopsie too late. His government confirming the inmates will remain in El Salvador with no plans to return them
This is the
to the
man,
U.S.
guys.
U.S. officials
This is
are
the
backing the
man, for
move.
real.
Secretary Marco Rubio called it a fair price for American taxpayers.
Deal.
And for those 137 illegal aliens deported under the Aliens Enemy Act, that does allow the U.S. government to deport those individuals without trial, Alex.
Jorge, we're
In
also
that instance,
following up
yeah.
on the USS Gravely. That's that guided missile destroyer deployed yesterday to the U.S. Northern Command Area of Responsibility. That marks a major shift in border security efforts. What's the latest that you're hearing on this deployment, and what can you tell us about the broader strategy to secure that border using that destroyer?
Well, Alex, this comes as the U.S. military continues to expand their role when it comes to border security under the Trump administration. Now, the USS Gravely did depart yesterday from the Naval Weapons Station Yorktown. It is headed to the U.S. territorial waters covering continental U.S., Alaska, Canada, and Mexico. Now, the goal here is to counter the illegal immigration, weapons trafficking, and transnational crime in U.S. waters, according to U.S. Northern Command. U.S. Northern Command Commander General also says this deployment does support President Trump's executive order on straightening the border and enforcement at sea. The Department of Defense calls this a major shift, giving the U.S. Navy a direct role in preventing crime before it reaches American shores. Alex.
Guys, I respect it. Like, again, a couple of years ago when I did find out what El Salvador was actually doing to kind of literally clean up some of the issues that they were having, because guys, if you were to go back a decade and look at the criminality that was basically allowed to kind of exist under their leadership there, you'll instantly realize how needed that crazy super mega military ran prison it needs to exist, guys. Okay. So that is absolutely one of the worst places to be on earth. Like, in reality, we have nothing, I don't think anything like that. I mean, maybe Guantanamo Bay, but honestly, to be truthful here, what do we actually know about what goes on there? But in fact, they don't care. Okay. They're saying if you are affiliated to any type of street fraternity, okay, you're going to go into a hypermax prison. It's right here. We have it. Right, no problem. Right, we'll bring all your buddies. That's basically what the leader of El Salvador did to basically clean up his country. All right, now, were there a lot of like human rights issues occasionally? I'm not going to go ahead and say that I'm down for that aspect, right? But if you are someone who is exclusively living to the detriment of other humans, then I'm not sure I care much about your existence. And I'm not even sure that's a crazy statement to make here, guys. Again, I'm trying to be the moderate position in this instance here, right? I kind of live within that realm anyway, right? But I think it's fine. You are a terrible human. You've been a terrible human to other humans. I think it's completely fine that you end up in this supermax prison that you can't escape from. Guys, all right. But all right, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Was this fair? Was this too much? Does any human belong in that place? Let me know in the comments, guys. But in the meantime, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.